Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I'm unboxing the ACEMAGIC Mighty Mini PC. Now this is a refresh of the AD08. We now have Intel's 12th gen Core i9 12900H processor. This particular unit that was sent for review, of course in full disclosure, I'm not being paid to cover this product. It retails for $645, and this particular model has 32 gigs of RAM and a 0.5 terabyte NVMe SSD. But overall, this does promise to be one of the more powerful, incredibly compact solutions on the market. So if this is what you're looking for, just to have a really low-profile desktop solution for, let's say, just a really compact yet still powerful workspace, this might be exactly what you've been waiting for. Another thing to point out is that ACEMAGIC has launched their Tank series. I'm hopeful that I'll get one of those in stock soon. Essentially, I'm a big fan of this trend, not for retro gaming, although I know many of you love that genre, and for good reason, but just because I like to see this trend of more powerful computers that are really compact, that if you want something just to be really power efficient, yet still completely competent for work, everyday tasks, not necessarily gaming, that's where these tend to do a really nice job. They take up very little room, but you're not sacrificing performance. So my experience in the past has been good with ACEMAGIC. If you're a subscriber, you already know that I've covered a good number of these tiny form factor systems. Generally, they all have a little bit of a rub, but this one in particular seems to be a powerhouse. The only way you'd get more powerful is stepping up to that Tank series that I mentioned, which has, I believe, a 3060 model that is with an NVIDIA laptop GPU, a 3070, and a 3080. So hopefully we'll get that in eventually, because that, to me, even though we know what the limitations of the performance will be, they will be best in class when comparing it to basically anything else in its class, because, well, there really isn't anything else in there. Now, first glance, I can tell you this is much larger, even though it is still incredibly small, than the AMD variant that I covered in the past. I believe it was the AM05, which is also a really good machine if you're on a tight budget. This definitely more power-centric, and I've been waiting for an Intel-driven variant from ACEMAGIC, which they did change their name. It was ACEMAGICIAN, but we'll look at the rest of this in a moment. This is also going to be really easy to get inside of to do any upgrading. You can see we have our little user guide, and then this is going to be the power brick, which should be fairly standard, and yes, it is. So that's part of the beauty of going with one of these, is that basically you've got, a top-of-the-line laptop from the fourth quarter of 2022, or any part of 2021, really, that now has been stuffed into this form factor, which I think is a great thing. Of course, not for everyone, no machine is, but I think many of you will really enjoy this, again, if you understand what it's capable of. So they gave us an HDMI cable. That's good, just to get you started out of the box. Your wall cable, to go into AC. And then this is going to, of course, connect to the actual power supply, which is rated at, drumroll please, let's see if I can find it. This looks like it's 120 watts, which would be surprising. But anyway, I'll come back to that. This is not a big deal. So I'm expecting 45 watts to the CPU. And again, from a gaming perspective, this to me is going to be more of just a really small form factor, powerful PC that, of course, you could use for photo and video editing, a home server. There are so many applications. So that's what makes it unique. Let's go over ports pretty quickly. Power button up here at the top. I've always liked this design. You have a silent as well as, performance, and then auto mode. I'll probably be living in the performance mode, but there's no question that having a good silent mode is always critical when you really don't need to do anything more than web browsing or email, and, you want a silent system. That's one of the reasons I really like these ACEMAGIC machines. Front of the unit, and by the way, RGB is alive and well all over this thing. I'm not sure I'll get into the RGB controller or anything like that today. This is just an unboxing and first look. Your audio jack right there, 2 Type A USB ports, a Type C USB port. I believe these are USB 4 ports, but I will need to verify that through testing. The information online says 20 gigabit, not 40. So I'm not exactly sure, but we're going to find out. We've got 2 HDMI outs, Ethernet, the power port, and 2 more Type A USB ports. So really, this covers the gamut in terms of I/O, in my opinion, that you would want from something like this. You're getting pretty much everything. And let me go ahead and do a peel on this. The protective layer is beginning to be removed. And we're going to take a look inside of this. So, in my opinion, if you're someone that has been using a laptop as your daily driver at the desk, this is, this steps in. I do use a laptop and desktop driving my 49, it used to be a 49, the 57-inch Samsung, the G9 ultra wide, the double 4K. It's really an 8K panel, so 2 32-inch 4K displays. So I plan on connecting this to it and driving that with this as my daily driver if it lives up to my expectations. Of course, ACEMAGIC doesn't know that, but they're finding out now in this unboxing. And if it holds up, this is going to be a great replacement to the laptop that I presently have, which has the exact same processor as this. So if performance is 1-to-1, this is going to take up a lot less desk space than the laptop and be easier to use, because as good as laptops are at being flexible, I always find that there's always something you've got to give up when using it as a desktop machine. That's just me. And I do have my desktop, for any heavy lifting. So this will be a great substitute for the laptop I've been relying on, at least on paper. Let's go ahead and see if I can pop this open with literally no look at instructions, because in the past they were so easy to pop off. So I feel like it's going to be easy, like it's just going to slide off or just pull off, and I'm right. So this is another reason to love this. So pre-installed, 2 16 gig DIMMs. I believe, as I mentioned, they're DDR5. I'm going to take another check. No, they are not. So I stand corrected. These are DDR4 DIMMs, 3200 megahertz. They are RGB, though. God only knows why, but they do actually light up. I mean, we know why. It's because of the RGB paneling. And this just goes to show you how far ACEMAGIC has gone. Your NVMe drive is right there, heatsink already pre-installed. Now, this is the one thing I likely will want to upgrade, because to me, 32 gigs of dual RAM DDR4 in here, it's going to do the job. So that's not an issue. But again, the 0.5 terabyte NVMe leaves a lot to be desired. But from an upgradability standpoint, it's so easy to get in here, and this is the only stuff you're potentially going to be messing with. Wi-Fi 6E on board, Bluetooth 5.2. I mean, I've just got to get it to work here and start testing. But let me go ahead and just plug in the power so you can actually see the RGB show, and then in the next video you'll get your update on overall performance. But there's a lot to like with this machine. I think the only thing that I wish was on here that presently appears not to be is Thunderbolt. But we're going to test out that Type-C port. We're going to verify what the throughput is, because the other thing I would like to see possible with machines like this is an eGPU. If I could hook up my 3080 eGPU to this, I think that gives you a lot of potential. Clearly not the most ideal setup for performance, but if you're willing to make that compromise, it does offer a lot. So let's go ahead and get this plugged in. I got the Anker Studio Power support there, and let's plug this guy in. And also having another Type-C port would have been cool. I mean, here I'm looking to see. There's nothing clear here regarding, you got a Kensington lock too, I didn't mention that, but there's nothing clear here regarding bandwidth throughput on the Type-C ports. I know what the manufacturer says online, but let's go ahead. I'll put the shroud back on. I believe it is just magnetic. Pops right on, and let's power this up for the first time. We'll keep it in silent mode. You just press that in, and here we go. RGB at the top. Some RGB at the sides, but there you have it. Now, I personally don't care about the RGB, but if you are someone who likes it, nice to have it, you can turn it off. In fact, ACEMAGIC has put together a whole software package to control the lighting, and there you can see the RGB RAM doing its thing. So again, a lot of nice touches, a little bit of branding here. Enjoy power, enjoy life. Let's hope we at least get the latter one, right? And just a cool little machine that I can tell you immediately once I'm wrapped on this unboxing, I'm hooking it up to the Samsung, and I'm going to start putting it through the paces to see if, as I stated, this can be a daily driver for me going forward, if I could speak, for basic tasks. I think that's precisely what this is perfect for. Or again, you want to do some light gaming, you absolutely can do that. Again, limitations do exist when you game with machines like this, but as long as you understand them, you're going to be happy with it. Again, I've said that too many times, the ACEMAGIC AD08 refresh sporting Intel's 12th gen Core i9 processor, 32 gigs of RAM, and a ½ terabyte NVMe that are all incredibly easy to upgrade. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm excited to start using it. But of course, any questions or comments, please feel free to post them at that like button. And as usual, please feel free to subscribe and please stay safe. Later.